Welcome to the Command Report, your number one news report for the Washington Commanders.
Hey Commanders fans, it's day 2 of training camp here in Ashburn, Virginia. It's a brutally hot day with heat advisories going out across the area. Breaking news coming out of camp today, AGG decides to hang up the cleats, go back to school. Coach Ron's going to start his presser off talking about that. We got Terry McLaurin stepping up to the mic, and also Bobby McCain. Thanks for joining us today. If you don't mind, if you already haven't, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and enjoy.
He just felt the time was now. He is going to go back to school, or at least he told me he wanted to continue his education and then go from there. He's a heck of a young man. He did a nice job for us. Really do appreciate who he is and who he was for us as a football player and as a young man. And because he's a young, bright young man, I really do believe he's got a bright future ahead of him, and wish him all the best as he goes forward in his life.
How taken aback were you by that? Did you have any inkling that he was even thinking this way?
No, I was a little surprised just because I thought he was doing a really good job. As an F in our style of offense, a guy that could play the F or the U tight end position, he was making some pretty good strides. And during OTA's mini camps, he showed his ability, and we felt this was a guy that could have been a matchup problem for some people. So, a little surprised. But again, like I said, I love who he is as a young man, and I want to wish him all the best as he goes back and starts the rest of his life.
How much when he talking about, was he concerned even like having to fight for a roster spot, or was it just the passion had gone?
Yeah, that's what it sounded like in our conversation, was that, he just didn't feel it right now anymore. And he was talking about going back to school and finishing his education, and seeing what else is out there for him. So as I said, he's a heck of a young man, and I do truly wish him all the best.
Ron, when you have a young wide receiver like Jahan Dotson, who is learning position at the NFL level, and you have a veteran quarterback like Carson, what do you try to get out of that relationship early on in a camp like this?
Well, it's almost a mentoring type relationship where, he and Carson can come together and talk about little things, little details, like Carson may tell him, hey, one thing is if I see where your leverage is, I'll try to throw it away from that guy. You know what I'm saying? So, again, it's just a little bit of a communication and understanding of feel and development, and that mentoring type work. So that's what you kind of look for, and hope that you get that.
Ron, it's often said in camp the defense is maybe ahead of the offense. It definitely seemed like that was the case today. What did you see from that group, particularly with the secondary?
Well, the one thing, we talked a little bit about it at the end of OTAs and mini camps. I really liked the communications with the secondary, and today was a day where it was a little bit ahead. And the biggest thing I tried to, I circled the guys up and just wanted to make sure, on the offensive side, they were frustrated, obviously, but they also got to understand that we're not game planning. So when you're not game planning, you're not anticipating, you're not expecting specific type of coverages for certain situations, you may not have the success. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of a tough part as far as that's concerned. So just trying to make sure they understood that. But as I said, the one thing I really liked was I thought the back seven had a real nice day. A lot of it had to do with the communications. We are working on some things and a little bit new, and I think that catches people by surprise as far as the offense is concerned. But like I said, I was really pleased with what we got on the defensive side.
And with the secondary, we kind of know what the starting four is, but after that, there's young guys, some questions on depth. How does that group kind of look to you, and how did they look today?
Well, the guys that we're given opportunities at the Buffalo and at the nickel position, I think those guys have really stepped up. It's good to watch. It really is, because that's what you want to see. I mean, Benjamin coming back and right now getting the first shot at the Buffalo seems to really be fitting and adapting to it nicely. Danny's a guy that's very consistent. We know who Danny is for us. And then we got a couple of young guys. I'm not going to name them. The less people know about them, the better. But they've done a nice job. They really have. But those two guys in particular, you see some really good things from Benjamin and Danny at that Buffalo/nickel position.
Does it change your mind when it's Carson and Terry who are frustrated? Does that change how you view it, knowing like those guys are going to be fine ultimately?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it is. But they want to perform. They really do, and that I appreciate as well. But like I said, we're not game planning, and that's the thing we all have to understand. Certain routes don't work very well against certain coverage concept. So, when you're out there and vice versa, some coverages aren't built for certain routes either. So it works both ways. Today it just seemed to fall in the defense's favor.
As you praise the defense, we've had a couple of camps where the communication hasn't been there. It's been a slow start. Do you feel like this is a sign that this is a more mature, more communicating unit so far?
Yeah, I think so. I really do. I think it's a very good sign. I think Bobby McCain and Cam Curl right now are showing us that their connection, their ability to work together has been very solid. I think Jeremy Reeves and Defoe Dariforce are two guys that are getting opportunities to be mixed in a little bit, and they've done a nice job as well. So that's been kind of cool to watch.
How did you want to see the defense respond after kind of a last year where they talked a lot, but then they didn't live up to those expectations? But it sounds like they've maybe gone about it the right way in your mind.
I think they have, but I also want to praise the message that Coach Del Rio and the staff are preaching. That's humility. Let's come in, let's be humble. Let's earn it. Let's earn the right. And I really love that messaging. I sat in the defensive meeting yesterday and the day before and just listened, and I really appreciated that message to the guys, and they seem to be getting it. And so because of that, I think, the focus now is, hey, let's just do our job, and we'll go from there.
Is there a balance there? Because,
Yep.
on the field,
no, there's a huge balance.
Montez Sweat is really fired up.
Yeah, oh no, Matt, you're absolutely right, and it is a huge balancing, because as I and I circled them up and told them that. I said, listen, guys, you understand what I have to balance. I want to see you guys excel, but at the same time, we're not game planning, so we've got to understand how to practice, how to work with each other, how to connect, how to understand, what it takes for us all to grow and develop. And that's the balance. I mean, it's one thing to take it beyond where we got today, and that becomes, in my opinion, destructive. And that's something we're working not to be. We're working to help build each other up. Hey, if you beat somebody, hey, that's great. You may wolf a little bit, but then go up and tell them, hey, tell them how you beat them, tell them why you beat them, tell what they need to do to be better. And that's what we've got to get to.
Sir, can I ask quick, you thought you guys were on the right side of the line today, or you were trying to reel them back?
Say it again.
Today, you felt like they stayed on the right side of that line? Or
Yeah, I think they did it exactly, but I wanted to emphasize it and re-emphasize it, because again, that's the kind of challenge you want out there. But at the same time, you also want everybody to understand that we're not game planning. So we're going to do something on defense you're not prepared for, and vice versa. Offense is going to do something that defense isn't prepared for, and it's going to look big. And everybody's going, oh, well, well, because we're not game planning, we're not expecting, we're not anticipating. Every time we motion this guy that way, this is what we're anticipating. Every time you get this formation, we don't have that right now. And that's my point, so that we understand as a group as to why things happen the way they do.
Coach, 3 or 4 more. Coach, gauge your teams and their participation after practice. You seem to have one of the more active units I've seen. They get working on their own after practice.
That's one of the things I really do appreciate is that we get guys that will do a little something extra on their own. That's important, because that's how they develop, that's how they grow. As we go through this and we get further into camp, once you start game planning for the preseason games, you want to see that as well. You want to see, a cluster of guys stay after and say, hey, we got to work on this together. And that helps. That's where the growth is. And they have to do it. They have to take ownership at that point, because again, within the rules of practicing, we can't, hey, so the players have to take it on themselves. And that's where the ownership, that's where the maturity comes. And that's what we're hoping to build and get our guys to truly understand how important that is.
If you fully come full circle being a Neanderthal, old days 2-a-day, bang, 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 to this,
oh yeah.
How have you dealt with that?
Well, it's interesting, because, I'd like to believe, this is my 12th season, and going through this process, learning how to adapt and adjust. I'd like to believe we've done it right. Granted, I got in trouble in the spring, but it took 12 years for me to get in trouble, I guess. So I think I'd like to say that I adopted, for the most part, doing the things that we need to do. And at the same time, to your point, and I think it's a hell of a point, is that within the limits of the rules, now the players have to go beyond. And that's probably one of the things that, you want, and that's a sign of maturity as far as I'm concerned as well. So hopefully we can do that.
Take 2 more.
You've talked about being a younger team. Does that
Yep.
force you to maybe trust them a little bit more in
That's
that
one
regard?
of the things that we talked about was trust and responsibility, and we'll continue to talk about that with our guys. You know, with the new rules and the way it's set up, you know, because when we get done, the players have a lot of downtime. The trust and responsibility that, hey, they're going to go home, they're going to get off their feet, they're going to get their rest, they're going to hydrate, they're going to eat properly, get their rest, show up the next day. We talked about time management as well. We start our day at 9 o'clock so we can go till 8 o'clock, because, you know, there's a time constraint. So we have to do time management. So, you know, don't come in at 8:45 and expect to get ready for practice in 15 minutes. Come in, eat your breakfast, do your extra stretching, get yourself taped up, ready to go. So we have to learn and understand and be disciplined and be mature to be ready to play football.
It seems like guys are chirping pretty hard out there, whether it be Montez or Chris Harris or JD. Do you like to see that this early and kind of?
I do, but I also, as we talked about the fine line from Matt's point, is there is a fine line. We don't want it to be destructive as much as we want it to be constructive. If I win, hey, I'm going to chirp about it, but then I'm going to put my arm around the kid and say, hey, look, now, if you just understand, if you wash me by, you win. Okay? Don't give me a two-way go. You know, those are the things that we now should be stepping in that direction. We should have gotten past those young years of, you know, hey, you know, thumping the chest and all that. Now it's about putting my arm around and helping my teammate to understand how to be a better football player.
Do you have any early impressions of Curtis Samuel so far here in training camp? How's he looking to you?
Well, I thought there was a play, and I think you guys saw it, that showed that in space with the ball how dynamic he can be. And, you know, and that's what we need. That's the kind of explosiveness that you're looking for. If we can get guys with the ball in their hands in space and create, there's an opportunity for us to win some football games, and that's what we have to do. That's where we got to get to. Okay, cool. Thank you, guys.
Catching the ball with my eyes, really. A lot of people just think you're catching it with your hands, but a lot of the time when you drop a ball, it's because you didn't follow the ball all the way from the catch to the tuck with your eyes. So I'm really just trying to train those mechanics when I'm catching on the jugs machine. So I'll try to catch 5 or 6 straight on, 5 or 6 on both sides, and then I'll start training kind of more challenging things when the balls are behind you. So I'll catch a few behind me, a few on the other side behind me, and then I'll get on one knee and simulate catching the ball when it's kind of high. So a lot of times when the ball is above your eye level or above your head, you think you're just going to catch it like this and keep moving. But I try to really train to follow my eyes with the ball. So then when you get into these games, these practices, it becomes more like a habit.
And unrelated, but we saw Curtis pull a pretty nice move on BSJ today. Just what does he look like to you? Does he feel like and look like the old Curtis out there?
Yeah, I'm just going to let him take it a day at a time, but that gave me definitely flashbacks of college and seeing what he can do with the ball in his hands, his versatility after the catch. Most guys catch that ball on a 5-yard pass, and they may get 2 or 3 extra yards, and the move that he made on a dime, that gets you 10 to 12 extra yards with his ability. So it's cool for other people to see that, get to feel that, and he looks like he has a good spring in his step, and I know he just want to take it a day at a time and continue to build on that and stay healthy. But so far, he's doing a really good job.
What do you make of the early chemistry you have you're developing with Carson?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been great so far, just personally getting to know him, sharing some things we have in common, learning about each other and the backgrounds and our careers up until this point. And I think we got to get out there in California before this started out, and we really got to start talking through things. And now we're out here in game-like situations. The bullets are flying, it's a little faster, but I really like his aggressiveness when he's trying to give us chances down the field. I think that's something that all of us as an offense know we want to improve on, is taking those shots down the field, but also connecting on them. And so the only way you get better at those is taking them in practice and connecting on them. So I think whether it's me, Jahan made some good plays down the field, Kelvin, that not only it increases your confidence in those plays, but it gives Coach Turner the confidence to continue to call those, and that could really help open up our offense even more.
I think he's the 9th quarterback you've played with. Do you see the transition going well as you get a chance to catch more passes from him throughout camp and into the season?
Oh, definitely. I think what helps is he's a veteran guy, and he's played with a lot of good receivers and fast receivers and guys like Deshaun Jackson, and so he knows what it's like to play with some fast receivers, some bigger receivers, and things like that, and just his cerebral ability to break things down on the fly is also what helps. And I think as a receiver, myself and the other guys, we want to try to be on the same page as much as possible. I think what's really cool is he throws the ball in a very timely fashion, so it forces us receivers to be clean at the top of our routes and know we got to get our head around because that ball is going to be coming. So those are little intricacies that we have to hone in on during this time in camp so they could be ready for the games.
Hey, Terry, what have been your early impressions of Jahan Dotson, and how much did you see him in college, and then what are you thinking out here now?
I didn't know that was him at first in college, but he called it like a one-hander against Ohio State, and you kind of see his ball skills out here. I got to see him again in California, and he's just very natural when he catches the ball. He's quiet, but that's a lot of rookies, but he has a very business-like approach. You could tell he treats this as his job and a professional, and he has fun when he makes a play. You try to encourage him to smile, because it's hard to make plays in this league, and when you make explosive plays like he did today, those change games, those changes possessions, and it gets the offense juiced up, when you see receivers going down making plays like that. So I just want to continue to encourage him to be himself, help continue to hone in on his skills, take the coaching really well, which he already does, and I think he has a chance to help us a lot.
What allows him, do you think, to make those because he made a few of those kind of catches in college. You've seen some things out here. What allows him to make those kind of grabs?
I think when you're confident in your ability to catch the football, I think you're comfortable in a lot of situations. A lot of guys, sometimes you have a tough time tracking the ball down the field. Sometimes you may not be as sure of your hands in contested catch situations. But when you're a sure-handed guy like he is and has been up until this point, he has a lot of confidence when the ball does get in his vicinity. So I think what he did great on that pass that he caught down the field is a lot of receivers may fade away a little bit and let the ball get caught inside, and it gives the DB a chance to get his hand in there. But when you trust your hands like he does, he kept the DB in between him and the ball, and he caught it on his outside shoulder. And he used really good late hands, which it's kind of tough to do. I'm still working on that skill a little bit as well. And the more you improve and the more you go against these great DBs in the league, you have to use little subtle things like that to keep them away from getting their hands in on the ball. So that was really good to see from a young guy, and I know he's just going to continue to improve.
Terry, I know it's only day 2 of camp, but the starting secondary is the same guys more or less from last year. What do you kind of see with that group? How has it been going up against them this time compared to last year? I think they have a really good chemistry, honestly. You got Bobby back there, who's a vet, Cam Curl. You got Will Jackson, who's doing a really good job. He's looking very explosive. And, Kendall, who's just one of the more smarter corners in this entire league, not just with his ability, but his way to break down your splits, his ability to tell when you're maybe tipping off your routes. I tell a lot of our receivers, myself included, it can be kind of frustrating because it seems like he's jumping everything, but that just forces us to be more clean in our footwork, in our routes, and our body demeanor. And so that's helping us. And I think, St. Juice, he's doing a really good job working in the slot, and he gives you a more longer corner feel, physical at the line, which is you're going to see all types of different corners this year in the guys we go up against. So it's just really cool to see the chemistry that those guys have. They have a lot of energy out there. They trust each other, and they're communicating really well. And, hopefully when our D-line is fully back and healthy and with the guys we have out there right now, I think it gives us a chance to be strong. And I know they're just taking it a day at a time. Coach Harris is really pushing those guys, and that's what breeds the competition. That's what's going to make the receivers better. That's what's going to make them better. And on a day in which maybe the defense gets the best of the offense, what does that do for you going into the next day? Does that change? Like you're trying to work on different things, knowing this is what happened today? How do you adjust from that day to day if they got the better view?
Well, definitely. I mean, I think at the end of the day, you want to try to win every day if you're the offense. But those guys on the other side of the ball are really good as well, and they prepare. And I think we had a good day yesterday. Came back and they made some adjustments. And I think the cool thing is when you have both sides of the ball, don't want to lose a day, don't want to lose a rep. That breeds that competitiveness, that breeds that winning culture that we're trying to cultivate here. And so at the end of the day, we got to remember we're still all teammates. We're on the same team, but you want to come out here and not only fight for a job, but you want to win on the offense or the defensive side of the ball. So as an offense, we're going to go in there and see what we could do better. Receivers, making sure we're right where we need to be when the quarterbacks are expecting us there. I know the O-line is going to do their job, tight ends, quarterbacks, everybody. So it's a collective effort, and I think when you come back out here tomorrow, you just don't want to make the same mistakes. You know what I mean? As an individual, you try to encourage the guys to not continue to make the same mistakes twice. improve on the things that you didn't do well yesterday and come out with a better energy and make those plays tomorrow. Because when you start to get that momentum, that's when you really see yourself improve as an individual and as an offense. So, I think we're going to come back out here tomorrow and compete, and tomorrow's a new day. That's the great thing about it.
Hey, Terry, on paper, this receiving core includes you, Curtis Samuel, De'Ami Brown, Jahan Dotson. Do you get the sense, I mean, on paper, this is one of the best receiving cores this team has had in many, many years. Do you get that sense, or is it just kind of a day-to-day thing? What is the sense of how good this receiving core can be overall?
I think it was definitely an emphasis to have as many weapons on our offense as possible. And when you have a lot of versatile guys like we have, young nucleus guys who are hungry but humble, you know what I mean? I think it's really cool to be a part of a group like that. When everybody's excited to make a play. Even you got guys like Cam who knows how to play all three positions, and you have that versatility over a 17-game season that becomes very important. If you get pigeonholed into this guy can only play this guy can only play that, it hurts not only the player, but it hurts the offense and the team. So I think we're just trying to breed that competitiveness in our room and come out here and make plays and give Carson as many options as possible to throw the football. And so, we got a really good group of guys. It's really fun right now to see so many guys flying around who have so many different abilities. We got big receivers, fast receivers. We got quick guys, slots, outside. So it's just a matter of putting the work in and really being detail-oriented so we could go out there and make it look good when it's time to play the games.
Last one. Terry, you've been the captain, a leader, but have you ever kind of directly mentored a player before, and is that something that interests you with Jahan?
Oh, definitely. My rookie year, I had the opportunity to learn from a lot of great veterans, and I kind of had that at Ohio State as well. AGG, when he was here as a rookie, I tried to take him under my wing, and Jahan as well, and even De'Ami and those guys. I take pride in that because it's hard to make it in this league, and we all know we're fighting for the same jobs. We all know we're competitive and want to make plays, but if I can do anything that I can to share my wisdom, to share what I've learned from this game, to try to be infectious with my personality, with my confidence, with my competitiveness, I think that breeds a stronger room. It breeds a healthy room to where guys know they could trust you and you're looking out for their best interests. Knowing that we're still competing and everything like that, but if any way I can help these guys, I'm going to do that.
Thanks, Terry. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys.
And another. And, the offense, they came out and competed. But today we were just on top of things. And, we come out tomorrow and hopefully have a better one.
And Ron said that Jack and kind of the staff have preached humility to the group as a whole, just kind of throughout this offseason. What have you kind of made of that? And what's the lesson or the takeaway that,
just coming to work, man. Coming to work, being humble and understanding that, we haven't done much. Like last year we didn't do much. We made it to the playoffs, and that's the goal. Make it to the playoffs and win a championship. So, if you can just work each and every day and take it a day at a time, take it one game at a time, at the end of the year you'll look around and you'll be in the tournament.
Bobby, other than just being around each other for a full year as you were last year, what's the biggest thing you think is going to work for your advantage this year in the secondary?
Just the camaraderie is nice, and having guys is nice, but it's going to take us. It's going to take some time, man, and it's going to take training camp to really understand each other. Like, we know our roles, we know who we are, we know how to talk to each other, we know how to communicate, and that's the biggest thing, man. If we all wrong, we're all right. So as long as we can work, man, up front, it works together. Up front works with the back end works up front, and you couldn't ask for a better rush in this league. So just bringing it together, putting it all together at each game at a time is what we're going to have to do.
Every quarterback has their own unique thing. Carson Wentz, big guy, big arm. What's unique about focusing on him in the backfield?
Yeah, man, he's a dude, man. He's a real dude. He's been in this league for a minute. He's seen a lot of ball. You can tell he's poised back there. A big guy, 6'4". He's got a strong arm. I'm excited to have him. We're excited to have him, and we're looking for big things from him.
When you're facing a quarterback like that, how does it change maybe how a defensive back maybe defends, or maybe was it on the drops or anything like that? How does it affect you guys when
it doesn't really affect us. It's just more about we're not game planning each other right now, so understanding that everybody's got a job to do, like whether you're a quarter flat player, whether you're a deep half, that's really what it's more or less what you're doing than what they're doing. and understanding that he's got a big arm, so you got to know like at any time he can throw the big post, at any time he can throw the fade ball, and understand that that's what could beat you.
And then one of the things that Ron was talking about too is the communication in the back end. Jack's talked about that. Felt like that's a big reason why you guys look pretty good first couple of days. Have you noticed that it's at a different level, even compared to at the end of last year or anything? And if so, why?
Yeah, that's one thing we're preaching in the room, man. Just communicating. Like I said earlier, if you're all wrong, you're all right. So if you communicate and everybody gets it across the board, there's not too many teams that'll beat you athletically. A lot of times you get in the room and you see bad plays, and it's not necessarily the guy just making a crazy play. It's more or less, oh, I didn't know I had help. Oh, I didn't get that call. Oh, I didn't know this. So that's all on communication. That's all everybody doing. Just their piece to let the next guy know, like, hey, this is where I'm at. This is where your help is, and this is where the weaknesses are.
Is that something that comes kind of innately with more reps, or is it something you guys have to legitimately work on, especially with a lot of younger guys coming in?
Yeah, it comes with time and it comes with reps. But we got a lot of vets in the secondary, and Will, Cam, myself, K Fool, and just understanding that you got to bring the young guys along, because maybe this is their first year or their second year. They're not too fond of talking, or they don't want to communicate, or they feel like they don't want to speak up. But now you have to, man, because when we're all out there, we all got to be on the same page.
Have any of the younger guys in the secondary really stood out to you so far?
I'm sorry.
Have any of the younger guys in the secondary stood out to you so far?
Yeah, man, we got a good group. Juice looking good. Percy, man, they're coming along. Sip, Christian Holmes, as y'all know him. Revo, all the guys, man, they're coming along, man. We're looking good. It's day 2, so we get the pads on. Things will speed up or slow down, and hopefully they'll slow down for you.
Ron said there's kind of a line between chirping after a good play that you're excited about versus maybe being a little bit overboard. Do you guys think about that when you're on the field, especially when you're having such a good day like today?
Not necessarily, but that's our coach's job to make that a point, to understand like it's not more or less chirping, it's more or less helping each other. And if we can help it, like you make a good play, you don't want to belittle the guy, you want to help him. And it's okay to be excited for your teammates and celebrate. But, maybe after the play, or maybe we go out to the sideline, like tell them like, hey, this is what you did. This is what I did. And this is what you could do better. Or this is what I didn't do well. So that's one way you can win. That's how you have a winning culture.
You have a lot of veteran DBs, like you said, but you're maybe the only one that's played, corner and safety to the extent that you have. And for those young guys who are kind of in the Buffalo or otherwise going through those sort of different positions, do you have a unique perspective, or are you able to help them a little bit more because you have that experience?
Yeah, for sure, man. I tell the guys, man, anytime you have questions, you can ask me, man. I've seen it all. I've played all 5 spots in the back end. So understanding football is like, it's like 1, 2, 3 to me. You can always learn. You can always be better. I can always be better, and I can always learn. But, man, anytime they have a question, man, they can come to me. They know that.
We hear so much about what good communication looks like. What does bad communication look like or feel like to you before a play?
If you line up and nobody says anything, you're wrong. You're wrong. If nobody's saying anything, if nobody's giving a call, if nobody's making checks, if nobody's seeing tendencies, nobody's seeing if you're not saying what you're seeing, then you're wrong. Good.
Thanks, Bob.
Yep.
Thanks, Bob. Yep.
Thanks for tuning in to the Command Report. Please like, share, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell to stay up to date with all the latest Washington Commanders news.